Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Do you know what day it is? You can't even talk.
Guess what day it is? Tiana! Guess what day it is? I know you hear me.
Man, where's Coach T?
Coach. Mike.
Guess what day it is?
I know, Tosh. It's hump day.
No, it's drop day.
Yes.
It's drop day.
Well, you know, the only person more excited than Natasha Cloud on draft day, that's whoever we pick tonight.
Lose it, you never win.
Oh, boy!
That stuff is...
Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. It is Nathan back with another video presentation. I hope you are all well. Happy Monday. Doesn't feel like Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everybody's staying safe. Before we get into it, there's some things I need to say up front. This is episode 1 of season 7 of the podcast, McNate Sportstalk podcast. Couple things. I have uploaded 3-4 episodes of season 1 of season 6. I think it's like episodes 1 through 5 have been uploaded so far on Anchor via Spotify. So please be patient with me as I get those episodes out to you. As you have seen the title, this is the final. This is an emergency mock draft 4.0. Tomorrow, actually tonight, is the goal. I'll have another video up with talking about Dwayne Haskins. Send my thoughts and prayers to him, to his family. Tragically passed away. Was killed in an accident. I want to talk about how the media decided to dehumanize him, and I thought that was wrong, in my opinion. But be tuned in for that episode as well. So, 4.0 mock draft. I'm hopeful that this is it. Some things did happen yesterday, unfortunately, with everything. The Minnesota Lynx and the Las Vegas Aces, they traded. The Las Vegas Aces now have the 8th and 11th pick, and next year Minnesota has their picks. Coach Reeves basically said, and pretty much she's comfortable with her roster, trying to compete for a championship. She doesn't believe a rookie, in my opinion, is going to help her win a championship. And plus, they can use that extra money, the extra bit of cap space. So pretty much she's saying she's comfortable with her roster. Now with Las Vegas, So they did mess things up. We're just going to be quick and easy with this. So with that being said, with the number one overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, the Atlanta Dream. I want to say Atlanta Fever. I apologize. The Atlanta Dream select Ryan Howard. This is pretty much a no-brainer. I think she arguably made the case to be number one overall pick. She's going to be a franchise changer for the Dream. She's someone you can build around. I thought that would have been Kennedy Carter and Ari McDonald, but Ari McDonald really didn't get the opportunities that I thought she would need, that she was going to get until the end of the year. So you've got Ari McDonald, you've got Monique Billings there. Then you get Ryan Howard, you got some others, you got Tiffany Hayes back for another year or two. And then you brought in some training camp contracts. So obviously the Atlanta Dream are in rebuilding mode for the future. So definitely, as a good perimeter player that she is, and she's a good defender, I think Atlanta definitely will like her for years to come. With the second overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Alyssa Smith. Now, shout out to Coach Lynn Dunn. Lynn Dunn, she gave nothing but praise. She liked both Ryan Howard and Alyssa Smith, but Alyssa fits more what they're looking for. They need more energy on defense. I feel like Indiana's defense last year, especially watching them play the Mystics a couple times, they really need that. They need some energy on defense. Not saying they all can't play defense, but they need more. The transition defense. They need more like that. And I think Alyssa definitely brings that to Indiana. I think the difference between her and Tierra McCowan is more of a paint beast defender. Alyssa is more of a paint scorer and a paint defender. I think you're getting a little bit more with Alyssa, which is why I think Indiana made that trade to move up in the draft to potentially draft Alyssa. So I think this is a good pick for the Fever. If you hold my feet to the fire, you can make a case for. Regardless, these were the first, second overall pick. Nothing was going to change. I think it's another potential star changer for the franchise. So, with going to the third overall pick, the Washington Mystics, ladies and gentlemen, had the number one overall pick, but they moved down in the draft to get who I think makes most sense for this team with the third overall for the Mystics. For the third overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, the Washington Mystics select Shakira Austin. This is a no-brainer. I really am looking at the Mystics going forward for the next few years. The biggest question, again, Coach Mike Tebow said in last year in the X interview, reset, or we need to reset, not rebuild. My question is, are we still going into the season in a reset mode, or are we rebuilding mode? I think those are the questions you have to ask yourself if you're Mystic fans. Personally, I think we said it for the past couple of years. They need a center. We had Alana Coates back when we were in the bubble, and in my personal opinion, she did not get the opportunities I thought she should have gotten. In my opinion, I think she should have gotten more opportunities than she did when she was with us. I wasn't comfortable with some of the options that they had. I mean, no disrespect. Last season, it looked like it was Tina Charles and friends. And that was, even though we didn't have, Maisha Hines-Allen is a great player. She definitely stepped up. But the injuries all last year, there's really just there's no true identity for the Mystics. I know we still, if healthy, Elena Deladon. But I'm talking about the next 3, 4, 5 years down the road with the Mystics. And that's something you have to think about. I think it's time we start developing an identity beyond Elena Deladon. Not taking anything away from her. But, I think Shakira has more upside. Arguably, you can make a case for this draft. I just think she is this is somebody that Coach T is really, really going to enjoy. I mean, he say what you want about his draft history, but he is. I think this is the person for him. If you pushed me, now I did consider Alyssa Cooney and Emily Estegler, but I think you can't go wrong with Shakira Austin. I think it makes the most sense for her, for the Mystics, and for Coach T. Now, I get off my Mystic bandwagon. With this next pick, the fourth overall pick, the Indiana Fever select Naz Hillman. If you held my feet to the fire, I would have said Kirsten Bell or Emily Estegler, but I'm comfortable with Naz going here. I think you have two inside post players. Again, we're talking about the energy on defense. Again, watching her at Michigan play, watching the Maryland Terrapins play them. Tremendous defender. Not the outside game's not there, but it will get better over time. Again, I think to me the mindset for Indiana is defense. I think if you have now Bria Hartley, Kelsey Mitchell, you're probably going to go with Tiffany Mitchell starting, Naz Hillman, Alyssa Smith. I think that's an interesting starting five. I think you have two paint beasts playing defense for you. I think it makes the most sense. Now, Kirsten Bell, I know people are going to say Indiana needs shooting, but I think you already have proven shooters with Kelsey Mitchell, Victoria Vivians, Tiffany Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell, Bria Hart. I think you already have proven shooters. I don't think you need another shooter wouldn't hurt, but I think the emphasis here again is defense. So if I'm Indiana, I'm taking Naz Hillman with the fourth overall pick. Now, going to the Big Apple. With the fifth overall pick, the New York Liberty select Alyssa Cooney out of NC State. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It makes sense. I think a couple things I talked about in the last draft. She can shoot the ball 41% from three, and I think she's going to they're going to need her in certain roles. Now, I talked about Steffi Dolson, even though they signed her. Steffi does have a tendency to get into foul trouble, and I don't think it would hurt them if they took her in this spot. I think it makes sense. I considered Nayara Sabli, but I was looking at more of a center. It wouldn't hurt New York to take a center. I've always considered, in my opinion, Steffi Dolson to be a power forward. To me, that's just my opinion. But I think having a shooter like Alyssa, you're playing alongside Sabrina Esco, Benijah Laney, Natasha Howard. I think it's a good pick for New York. I think they should take Emily, and not Emily, Alyssa. I want to say Alyssa. I also had considered Kirsten Bell here, but they don't need any more wing players. I think they're good. Back to Indiana with the sixth overall pick. They select Colt Clowning. I personally, the Fever, they're going to think about getting a point guard only because of a couple things. I like the trade to get Bria Hartley. My only concern with Bria Hartley is the injuries, her injury history. And I think that's another thing too. They've never really had a true point guard, even though we all can say last year it was a reach on Kaiser Gondrzik, but that was more of Tamika Catchings in the scouting in the front office. We don't really know if that was a Tamika Catchings pick or a front office pick. We just don't know. I think they need a point guard here. One, to back up Bria, but also too, I think it's somebody. Again, she's on both sides of the ball. Again, I talked about defense. She can finish at the rim. She can shoot the three, and I think as far as the guards in this class, I think she has arguably a better upside than maybe. I mean, if you make the case, I think personally Destiny's a little bit better, but I think Nia and her game, you can't take it away from her. I think she makes sense for me to be drafted with Indiana. Now, let's go to the 7th overall pick. Let's go to Dallas. With the 7th overall pick, the Dallas Wings select Miss Nyara Sabli out of Oregon. Those Oregon Ducks. Now, I already know it. This pick was I'm not going to budge. I feel like she would be more. I could see her and her sister reuniting together. I already know people are going to bring up the draft. I mean, the injury issues with her, and that's okay. I know she only played 47 games with Oregon. I know misspoke. I said she tore her Achilles twice. She tore her ACL twice. I want to clarify that. In the last video, I said she tore her Achilles. She tore her ACL twice. I want to clarify that. If you held my feet to the fire with Dallas, I also considered Emily S. Tegler, Ray Burrell. I even considered Sky Cone. But I think in terms of post players in Dallas, I don't think they're so on Charlie Collier. It doesn't sound like Owat Kire is going to come back. I already know Isabel Harris is going to get her playing time. But unfortunately, I know you got Terry McCowan. But I think it makes more sense for her to go here, in my opinion. I couldn't see anything else. They could have taken a guard, but I really wasn't sold on anyone other than Destiny, Veronica, and Nia. I mean, you could say Christina Williams at UConn, sure, but I really I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I believe personally, because there's some drafts where I saw she's in the top 4, top 5. But I just put her here just because I think she'd be I think she would play more comfortably alongside her sister, Setu Savali. But I think Nara could definitely make some heads turn with her play in the W when staying healthy. Because I mean, she can definitely be an impact on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, and she could get defenses guessing. So I like this pick for Dallas. Now we go to the city of wonders. We're talking about Las Vegas, and most people are going to be surprised when I say this pick. Actually, no one should be surprised. Actually, let me fix her name. I misspelled it. With the 8th overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, I still spelled it wrong. I think isn't it 2 N's? Yes. There we go. The Las Vegas Aces select Destiny Henderson, South Carolina, guard. If you held my feet to the fire, this was Minnesota's pick, but they traded it to Las Vegas. I think it makes sense for Las Vegas. They do need at some point to get some more depth, particularly at the guard and wing forward positions. They're not getting any younger. I'm talking about Chelsea Gray, for example, Raquan Williams, still effective players. But I think at some point you need to start getting some depth behind them for sure. I think it makes sense in my opinion. I mean, we all know the game the game she had in the championship game, but she is a good 3-point shooter. I think she shot almost 40.5% from 3. Very aggressive, getting to the rim. Tremendous defender. And her on-ball, off-ball defense. I mean, look how she defended Paige Beckers. I mean, just look at just her style of play. Most teams would definitely value that. I mean, she's a definite spark plug that you would need for your team. And why not? A team like Las Vegas, where you're playing alongside Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Dearica Hamby. Why not? Why not? Let's go to the city that is in a bit of has some trouble in paradise. We're talking about Los Angeles. Los Angeles, not the Sparks, but the Lakers. They fired Frank Vogel, which I don't want to talk about right now. But we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Sparks. With the 9th overall pick, the Los Angeles Sparks select Miss Kirsten Bell out of Florida Gulf Coast. I think she fits this team very well. Couple things. I actually had Ray Burrell here. But I like Kirsten here. 3-point shooter. She definitely stood out this year in terms of her play. got to see her play. We played Maryland. She could play. I think she's more comfortable with small ball. Even though in the ACC, that's kind of where her that's how they took advantage of the small ball. But her skill that she brings to the W, you can't take that away from you. I don't think you can take that. And I really think when you have somebody like that, a 3-point shooting team, you're going to have now, you're going to Taya Cooper, Brittany Sykes, you're bringing on Lexi Brown, Jordan Canada. You're going to at some point, you got the Gumike sisters healthy, Liz Cambage, Ariella Garantes. That Sparks team, if you get her, Kristen Bell, that is a good piece for Derek Fisher and that Sparks offense. I think she could play multiple positions, and once she gets 3-point shooting, because I mean there's still room for improvement there. If you put her in that Derek Fisher offense system, it's a wrap, in my opinion. Now let's move on to the 10th overall pick. We got 3 more picks, and then we're going to call it an episode. With the 10th overall pick, the Indiana Fever select Emily Estegler. I think she definitely fits what the Fever could want in a player. She can guard multiple positions. Good outside shooter. I definitely think her on-ball defense her off-ball and on-ball defense can be better. But I like her defense. She has a defensive mind first. And I think that's something that you're going to have to value if you're Indiana. We talked about it. Defense. So I'm looking at the defensive side. So, I mean, Alyssa Smith, Naz Hillman, and Emily Estegler, why not? I think it just makes sense. Now, I do think that in the long run, I think with Indiana, you've got arguably the best. You probably would have the best defensive interior in front court, in my opinion. As again, we talked about it with Alyssa. Energy. She can disrupt the passing lanes, and that's something that Indiana needs. So I'm looking at like you got Naz Hillman. You could take Emily Estegler and then Alyssa Smith. That is a front court for years to come that you cannot take that you should adjust to. Guaranteed. I like this pick for Indiana. I do. I really do. Now, let's go back to Las Vegas with the 11th overall pick. The Las Vegas Aces select Miss Ray Burrell out of Tennessee. Same thing. I said it earlier. They need depth. Depth. I considered Sky Cone here. I did. They could use a center. Another Liz Cambage isn't there, but why not continue just to build on the depth? She definitely could take some of the offense off of a Chelsea Gray, off of a Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Derek Hamby coming off the bench. She could definitely be a spark plug off the bench, in my opinion. I do know that obviously we all know about her injuries, the injury she had this year, but I definitely think as a wing scorer, she could definitely open up. She could definitely be another spark plug off the bench for Vegas. Now, again, I consider Sky Cone with this pick, and it could change. I think Sky Cone is the most, in my opinion, another WNBA ready player. But at the end of the day, I looked at they needed everything, including the kitchen sink. So I was looking at depth. And with the final pick in the first round of the 22 WNBA draft, the Connecticut Sun select Veronica Burton. I strongly considered Christina Williams here, and for me, I had to go back and look at something. And I had to go back and look at the tape. So obviously, we all know that Brianna January left to go to Seattle, right? They do need some depth in the backcourt. Extra depth wouldn't hurt, right? Veronica Burton did win Defensive Player of the Year for the Big Ten, all right? So I'm looking like, okay. I'm like, Christina Williams, and you have a case, but I like Veronica here because one, let's just keep it real, okay? At Northwestern, she did carry the bulk of that offense. All right, let's just get that out there. But she's going to be in a situation where you've got Courtney Williams, you've got Jasmine Thomas, you've got John Paul Jones, DeWanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Jones. There's no pressure. So I think they're going to make the game easy for her. I mean, I think for a team that really kind of, to me, could use not only some shooting, but some defense too. I mean, let's just keep it real. I mean, there were some moments where I was kind of looking for them on defense, and I couldn't find it. But also too, I mean, I would say this is a low risk reward because I mean, Connecticut, this is the year they're going to have to really prove that they are a championship contender because.
Skip. Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC Airwaves.
I mean, seriously, I think it makes more sense for Veronica Burton to go here for Connecticut. I mean, an extra backcourt depth wouldn't hurt. It definitely would not hurt at all for Connecticut to take that. And also, too, she can shoot the ball a little bit. So, I mean, that's my first round 4.0. Again, this is it. I'm hoping it. I think everybody knows who they're going to get. If you held my feet to the fire, I would have said Sky Cone could have been a first round pick, but Destiny Henderson definitely made a case to be a first round pick for sure. Las Vegas, they could have used a center. Minnesota really messed this up. So thank you, Coach Reeves. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Coach Reeves. I love Sherry. She's one of my favorite coaches. But this is my first round pick, a first round of the draft for the mock draft. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Who do you think your team should take? The draft is tonight at 7 p.m. As a Mystic fan, I'm hoping that it's Shakira Austin. I'm praying it is because Coach T made it clear. He said that if we had a number one overall pick, they wouldn't have gotten in the top 7 rotation.
What? And you got to be kidding me.
That made no sense. So I'm hoping he doesn't do nothing foolish, because realistically he knows this. So let me know your thoughts, man. That being said, I do want to take this opportunity. Before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. This is season 7 of the podcast. We're 7 seasons in, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank each and every one of you for the support you've given me and this channel, and also welcome the new subs for the channel. I appreciate you joining us. It's going to be a great experience. Love my sport, love to talk sports, have conversations with people. Thank you for the support you give in this channel, and me. Really means a lot. But my closing message to end this video is I want to congratulate all the ladies. You've made it. This is the beginning of a new chapter in your lives, respectively. It's well over 100 prospects, and unfortunately, only 36 names will be called. I don't like it. I think it sucks. I wish if I was commissioner, I would have all 108, 110, I think it is, on teams. It's unfortunately sad that, there's good talent. And it's not just with the WNBA. I've seen it with football. I've seen it with the NBA, baseball. I don't like it. I do think the call needs to be made for roster expansion. We need to have at least 15 roster spots. I would like to see some protection, particularly for the first round picks. I want to see that. More importantly, I do think that there needs to be not a guarantee contract, but I don't like the fact that there are some young women that get drafted. For example, Kiana Jeter went to the University of Towson. We call her AKA Mello. Was drafted last year by the Las Vegas Aces. It wasn't a week before training camp. She was drafted I think in the second or third round, if I remember, one of those 2 rounds, and she was cut. I think they should prove their worth in the training camp before we make that decision. Chelsea Perry, another one. Unfortunately, even though she's back with Indiana, they cut her and then signed her again, and then obviously now she's back after coming off for an injury. It's one of those situations where you gotta. It sucks, and you have to be prepared. Brianna Turner, drafted by Phoenix, and then turned around and got traded. So just stay glued to the TV. Regardless, God has many things in store. Has things in store for many of you. Just keep your heads up. Again, this is a tremendous journey. You've made it. Congratulations, and just take the moment in, take it in, and just soak it in. I wish I had, whether it was playing football, baseball, or basketball, I wish I'd walked across the stage and heard my name being called by the commissioner. With the first round pick, with number 1 overall pick in this draft, that is a wonderful experience. So, it really sucks to see they really see that. That now everybody will get drafted by a WNBA team. There's a lot of good talent out there in this year's draft, and I also too think that the NCAA needs to fix a couple of things. I'm not a fan of the fact that these young women have to wait until practically their senior year. They have after their junior year, or they have to be 22 to declare for the draft. But you can have guys in the NBA at 18 years old declare for the draft. That there needs to be some balance in that. I think that's weird. 3 years. I just don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. But that's neither here nor there. I wanted to get that off my chest because that bothered me. That definitely bothers me for sure. But that is going to conclude this episode 1, season 7. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all tonight. I will be tuned in for the WNBA draft, but thank you to the Las Vegas Aces and the Minnesota Lynx for giving us more chaos. And I'm hoping, actually, I'm putting a guarantee that there will be no trades in tonight's draft. Guarantee. But the Minnesota Lynx and Las Vegas Aces.
Skip. Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand how these dudes put themselves in this situation. I truly, truly, truly do not understand it. That's the kindest way I can put it. I think to go any further than that, Skip, I might lose it. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna lie.
Well, let me pick up the ball and try to not run with it, but walk with it.
With that being said, y'all have a good night. Y'all see episode 2 hopefully tonight. I want to talk about Dwayne Haskins and how the media dehumanized him. We have members of the media that dehumanized him in the aftermath of his death, which really bothered me. But until then, I'll see y'all in the next episode. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Peace. Stay up.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Yeah.